After a fantastic winning streak of 5 games in a row, the Raptors have now lost 3 games in a row, and in quite embarrassing fashion last night to the Boston Celtics. So in today's video, we're trying to communicate to Raptors fans that you need to be patient and trust the franchise. Let's get into it. Welcome NBA and Raptors fans. This is Amateur Hour Sports, your source for everything Raptors related. We do Raptors news, game recaps, mock trade breakdowns, and so much more. So if you like the Toronto Raptors and you enjoy content in this video style, make sure you subscribe to Amateur Hour Sports for more videos just like this. We're on a road to 8,000 subscribers. You can help us get there, and in return, you get 4+ videos a week, all concerning the Toronto Raptors. So today, we're kind of breaking down a bit of the 3-game winning streak, but a lot of what we saw last night against the Boston Celtics, where we end up losing 104-88. And this is a Boston Celtics team that did not have Jaylen Brown available due to injury. And this is also a Celtics team that came into this game with a 4-6 record, kind of in a little bit of turmoil internally at the moment, but they came out and absolutely took care of business at home against the Raptors. And Raptors fans, for the right reasons a little bit, are growing kind of restless because this team has now lost 3 games in a row and are back to 500 at 6-6. But 12 games into the season, I don't really think 6-6 is that bad. But the problem I have with what's going on right now is the incredible backlash that this team is getting on social media. And this is kind of what we have to comment on right now in this video. So yeah, yesterday's performance was quite bad. If we look through the entire game, I think the biggest problem that I had with the game was the lack of defensive rebounding. The Celtics absolutely cleaned house on the offensive glass against the Toronto Raptors. They had 12 offensive rebounds, but a lot of those made to be easy putbacks as well. Their second chance points in comparison to the Raptors was absolutely off the charts. Robert Williams by himself had 8 offensive rebounds. 8 offensive rebounds! Like 8 rebounds in a game is pretty good, let alone 8 offensive rebounds. And it seemed on a lot of those occasions, sometimes Fred VanVleet's blocking out Robert Williams, doesn't really matter how good the box it is. But on many other occasions, there weren't really anybody actually playing any sort of defense or boxing him out at all, which led to an easy putback. And another thing that I had an issue with is, again, the half-court offense was struggling for the Raptors. The 3-pointers, where in the first quarter we really didn't take any, and we weren't really hitting any for the rest of the game as well. We ended up with a very poor 3-point percentage. I think it was about 24% from 3-point land, and you can't win NBA games shooting like that. Just flat out, you can't win NBA games shooting like that. But, I can take a bad shooting night. What I can't take is a lack of effort showcased by the team, and I keep repeating this every time the Raptors have one of these games where it just doesn't seem like they care too much. I mean, it's not necessarily about the effort in terms of running hard. People are running hard for the Raptors. They're running in transition, but doing the right things and doing the smart things on defense is what I care about. So the effort to, go grab a rebound, to go box out Robert Williams, to stop the offensive threat that he's displaying, especially in the second quarter. He was absolutely devouring the glass. And there were many occasions where people like him or other players in the Celtics could easily grab an offensive rebound. Like in the second quarter, Jason Tatum grabbed an offensive rebound, which led to an easy putback. And there wasn't even a Raptor within like 3 feet of him. Like they were nowhere near contesting. I think 3 feet's generous, probably more like 5 or 6 feet away from him. So that is what is annoying me about the Raptors, especially in this particular performance. The half-court offense still needs a lot of work, and no adjustments are being made. Also, a little bit of criticism for Nick Nurse. I mean, he keeps saying, even last season, but he keeps saying this season, can we have the small ball lineup that we're working with? Obviously, the 5 best players are on the court from the start. Sure, that makes a little bit of sense. Pascal Siakam with the 5, but Nick Nurse continues to say that he's going to change for every game. He's going to change that starting 5 for every game based off matchups. He always says this, but he never does this. He never makes adjustments. And, against the Brooklyn Nets, when you start Siakam at the 5, that's fine. Blake Griffin is the opposition center. I'm not too worried about him on the interior. But when you're playing against the Boston Celtics, who started Robert Williams and Al Horford, 2 elite rebounders start together, how can you possibly not go with the center from the start of the game? As bad as Pascal Siakam played in the game, at least he had 9 rebounds and was doing stuff on the glass. I'm mad about this game, but it's just this game. As a whole, this Raptors franchise as a whole, I'm not going to go hold a grudge and go complain immensely about a player as a result of one game. Has Pascal Siakam been very underwhelming to start the season? Yes. Has Pascal Siakam been underwhelming his first 2 games? Yes. But this guy has been out for 5 months after shoulder surgery. And he wasn't even that bad against Brooklyn. He was solid against the Brooklyn Nets. Can you give him like a little bit of time to recover from his injury? Like, I thought we were past this. I thought Raptors fans, we were all past this recency bias. We have to understand that we're coming off of a season where we had the 7th worst record in the NBA. It's not just going to shift overnight. The Raptors, there's going to be growing pains. And Masai Ujiri, the person that we all collectively claim that, okay, even though we may not agree sometimes, that is the person we trust. So if we want to put our faith in Masai Ujiri, then we need to trust Masai Ujiri and we need to listen to him. Before this season, he mentioned there are going to be growing pains. There's going to be some of those performances during the season. Well, we just had one of those performances against the Boston Celtics. You got to understand what we are going through right now. This is a transition year. We were never supposed to be some elite team in the NBA. Are we better than I expected us to be? Yes, I think there are, players in particular like Scotty Barnes, who actually was pretty great yesterday. Though that is the surprising thing that I'm enjoying. But, these are the things that are important. Personal growth amongst our young players. If these guys are getting better, it's only going to help us for the future. I'm okay with some losses coming, but as long as we're developing, I'm okay with it. Last night was not an indication of that. Other than Scotty Barnes, it was a horrible performance and a horrible loss. But if we suffer some losses while playing well, then I am going to be okay with that. Like the Cleveland Cavaliers game, we dominated them for the entire game. Bounces don't go our way in the end, some little mistakes, but at least we were playing proper basketball. But now against the Celtics here, that was a very poor performance from the Toronto Raptors. But we need to understand what the bigger picture is here. Siakam, oh my goodness, Siakam just came back from shoulder surgery. Precious Achiuwa has been thrown into a bigger role than he should have been thrown into. I was kind of thinking of him as maybe the backup center, and I got to admit, I was fooled by his preseason performances where he's absolutely sensational. He's not quite ready for the role that he is in right now. We need to give him time to develop. I just think it's a little bit unfair to throw Precious Achiuwa into this huge role, especially with Khem Birch out for injury, who are really, really lacking his presence on the court. We're throwing Precious Achiuwa into a bigger role than he should be in at this current age, at this current state in his second year of his NBA career. But the Raptors didn't do a good enough job of filling out the depth in the center positions. Therefore, Precious Achiuwa has to get more minutes. And don't even get me started on Chris Boucher. I'm actually not going to go deep into Chris Boucher because either tomorrow or the day after that, somewhere in the next 3 days, we're going to do a full video basically talking about Chris Boucher and his deplorable performances so far this season. That is the only person I'm not going to defend. I'm going to defend Achiuwa. I'm going to defend Siakam. I see people calling out OG Anunoby, Gary Trent, Van Vliet. I am going to defend those guys. I'm not going to defend Chris Boucher. That guy, I'm throwing him to the wolves. You guys can have at him. But when it comes to Siakam, Jesus, guys, 5 months of rehab for his shoulder. Like, give him a little bit of time. Can we blame Nick Nurse maybe for throwing him into a role he's not quite ready for with his injury rehab? Sure, I can give you that. Precious Achiuwa, should he be playing better? Yes, but 22 years old in a bigger role than he should be. Okay, I'm going to be a little bit patient with Precious Achiuwa. For OG Anunoby, this guy has been way better this season than he was last season. His defense has maybe kind of regressed a bit, but the offensive game has definitely exploded, and he's going to continue to get better over the course of the season. I have faith in OG. Van Vliet, the point guard general, he struggled yesterday, but he's been having a good season. And Gary Trent has been worth the money so far this season, especially with his insane development on defense. Guys, this Raptors team is not this top 5, top 4 team in the Eastern Conference. The reality is the roster we have constructed is a play-in caliber team that has the ability to surprise and go higher up and get an actual playoff position. But the reality is it is the quality of a play-in team. That is, I'm sorry if you got to hear that from me. I know it's not quite what you want to hear, but you need to understand the situation where you're in. You can't have your expectations set too high. Kind of juggle them in the middle because this team is more of a middle of the pack team. That again, with that 5-game winning streak, has the ability to surprise some better teams like the New York Knicks. So there's going to be growing pains, but the patience is going to be key to the process of this team. Raptors fans, we need to be better because if we're always out here on Twitter calling out other fan bases for their toxicity and, some other fan bases, sure, they have their bad spots like the Lakers and the Celtics, but we need to acknowledge that we need to be better as well because we can't just turn on our star player like Pascal Siakam every time he has a mediocre game, especially, again, in his rehab for his 5-month injury at his shoulder. Like a key part of being Pascal Siakam. He needs his shoulder. So give him a little bit of time to rehab. Give him a little bit of time to kind of ease back into the games. If he's playing too many minutes, that's something to complain about. But don't turn all your hate on Siakam. Don't turn all your hate on OG Anunoby. I know he was bad yesterday. I understand the Raptors were bad yesterday, but there is a full season of basketball almost left. I mean, what do we have? 70 more games to play, plenty of basketball to be played. I'm frustrated with the loss, absolutely, but I'm frustrated with that loss in particular. I'm not going to take it out on the players and call for trades to happen and call for all these things to happen, all these big drastic measures to happen. The only one I'm calling for drastic measures is Chris Boucher. But again, in a later video in the week, we are going to get more into that. But guys, please, communication, have patience with this team. Have patience and be the fan base that you want to be. Be the fan base that you want to interact with online. Don't be that toxic fan base that everybody hates. Now, I get that the social media presence isn't really that important, but it is. The image that Raptors creators we're trying to create is, we understand we have this young team, we're excited about it, but we can't just turn on our own guys, like our own family, basically. We can't just turn on them every time something goes sideways. We have to hold people accountable, but we also have to look towards potentially a brighter future and be optimistic about what this great young core can achieve together. The reality is this is one of the youngest teams in the league. We only have one player above 30 years old, and that is Goran Dragic, who is 35. The only guy who is 30 years or older on this team. It's a young team that needs time to develop as individuals and develop as a roster. They are just getting started playing together. Obviously, I'm upset about the 3-game losing streak, but let's be optimistic about what the future of this franchise holds. We can't just all of a sudden turn on everybody just because of a bad losing streak. So please keep that in mind. Please be respectful to other fan bases. Please be respectful to your own team. Even without other fan bases, people interacting, be respectful to your own team. These are the guys that we truly care about day in, day out. As a Raptors creator, these are the guys I care about on the team. They don't really care about me in any way whatsoever. They don't care about me in any way whatsoever. But this is my life. I love the Raptors. I love talking about the Raptors, but as a fan base, myself included, we need to be better. We need to keep our emotions in check. We need to keep our expectations for this team in check in a sense of, sure, be optimistic. Let's go out and make a big playoff push. But understand, we may not get to that point. Just have that mindset, okay, maybe it doesn't happen, but it's not the end of the world. Keep all these things in mind. Please understand all this. The Philadelphia 76ers are the best team in the East. We're facing off against them tonight. Keep all that in mind for this game, but we have a long season ahead regardless of what happens. In the comments today, I want to hear what your optimism level is for the Raptors. Are you very optimistic all the way down to, are you very pessimistic about this team? Let me know your thoughts and opinions in the comments down below. Keep it respectful, everybody. But that's it for me for today, guys. Thanks so much for watching. Please, if you did enjoy, try to understand my side of this. Please give a like on this video if you did enjoy. I get that this is not quite what you wanted to hear, but try to understand where I'm coming from. And also, if you really did enjoy, please subscribe to the channel. 4+ Raptors videos every single week. Help us on our road to 8,000 subscribers. Some other channels you want to check out. I'm going to the Raptors 905 game tonight, so subscribe to this channel right here, Amateur TV, to see my vlog of myself at the game. And if you want to get my real-time, right after the game reaction, my reaction to the game, like the one from yesterday, Amateur Clips, we have a post-game show for every single game. Subscribe to that channel to keep up with those. We'll see you again next time for another video.